G'day, this is Captainoob, and this is a CS LS7 9mm submachine gun, not to be confused with a General Motors LS7 V8 motor, although I'd love to have one of those in the Commodore, but no, we'll keep it stock. LS swaps cost a lot of money. So what you're looking at here is a Chinese-made submachine gun, first developed around 2010, and in production from 2016 onwards to this day. Mostly used by the Chinese police forces. I don't think it's been adopted into the military yet, but pending its performance at mowing down COVID-19 protests at unarmed civilians, this thing might find its place within the Chinese military pretty quickly. So this thing requires a UMP45 mod to install and download and use properly. It uses the animations and sounds from it, so it's a pretty fairly similar looking gun. Obviously the real animations are fairly transferable, so that's what this thing basically is. A cheap knockoff of a German quality submachine gun. Probably won't be reflected in the performance of this thing because, you know, we don't jam in Fallout 4. We just clean our guns that good. Alright, let's get into the attachments. First of all, we've got the receivers. This thing can only be fired in an automatic fashion, and the powerful receiver is going to be your strongest option for damage. It requires gun nut rank 3. Can't do anything with barrels, so 107 range is what you are stuck with. You can have a standard stock or a standard S, which is going to retract that stock. It's got a little bit of a retractive thing on the side there. You can see there's little slots and there's little extra little dimples in there to set this thing to wherever you want it. Right now that is fully extended, but you can have it fully collapsed if you like. Nothing in between. We'll leave that extended for now. And you can have a Gnome magazine, which has better reload speed, or a 9mm quick eject, which doesn't change your ammo type to 10mm, but it does give you better reload speed. So we'll throw that in. Next up, we've got the sights. You can have an aim point, a Seymour, this one which has 0 textures, this one which has textures, that one is half and half, and you've also got some of the more western sights too. That one appears to be some sort of EOTech sight there. There's also a couple more aim point things. Let's go for that one. We'll go for a Seymour. Next up, we've got the muzzles. You can have a muzzle brake on this to increase your accuracy, won't decrease your range, funnily enough, or you could throw a suppressor on, which will also increase your accuracy in turn, probably to the barrel being extended, but also we get extra damage thanks to the old-fashioned Ace Operator. Love that perk. And the legendary effect is there if you need it. We'll be leaving that. We've got some options for foregrips on the bottom, including an angled or a vertical grip, or none at all. We'll throw on a vertical grip. And you can throw a laser sight on the upper rail if you feel like it, or a flashlight, of course. On the right, you can do the same thing, and also on the left. We'll throw a laser sight on the left. Looks green. Sorry, that's red. Sorry, I'm colorblind. Red laser sight on the side. And you've also got an option for extra damage in terms of sliders. And once you've got this thing activated, there's no chance to ever pull that back. So if you want to hit 90 and you regret making your weapon too strong, you can go back to plus 20, but you don't get the option to take that away entirely. Think of it as like an extra 20% if you feel like it, I suppose. And there we go. There's one of the LS7s we're going to be using. Let's talk about getting them and we'll shoot stuff. Okay, so the UMP mod has got a little quest that you'll go to find the weapon in-game, and then you can set whether this thing will actually be spawning within the level list. It'll take you over to where we are now. That's the Adam Cat's garage over there, and there's the castle map references here, but obviously looking through that crate it'll be a UMP and not an LS7. So here's how we're going to do it. We have to do it the old-fashioned way with console commands. First of all, we want to search for it. Type in help, and then you want to type in a keyword from the weapon. We'll just go LS7. There's not a lot of guns in this game called LS7. Then we want to type 4. That'll help us search, narrow down the search to forms that are of in-game items, and then we want to type in wep after that. That's short for weapon, so 4, that's in-game items. Weapon, that'll narrow it down to only weapon in-game items. Hit enter, it spits out a code for us. So we want to hit player, period, or dot, or full stop, add, item, all one word, space. We've got F6, and then we've got 00A86C. And then you can type in however many you want. So if we wanted that number, we can do that, but just having no numbers will give me 1, but if I want an extra 2, I'd hit 2 after that. And there we go. There's our secondary LS7 in the inventory. It looks like that's the only way of doing this. I've checked on the mod page. There doesn't seem to be any in the way of actual leveled this integration. Maybe if you've done the UMP quest, you'll start fighting them, but we'll just use console commands. Alright, the showdown here at Immersive Gunners Plaza is about to commence, but first we'll take a quick look at the LS7s. Yeah, there they go. They look really good, actually. I don't mind the textures or the models. They've done a pretty good job with that, I think. It's got some cool specular maps, too, so it's all proper shiny and stuff. Here's the one that I made without a suppressor. It's covered in laser sights for that supreme hipfire accuracy, which is pretty good. And it looks like the gunners are taking on some creatures. Whilst all that commotions is happening, I'm going to go up here. And I'm going to try to get a little bit of work done from the trailer, but we'll just have to see how we go. We get, okay, we're only getting a % accuracy from here, but we've got concentrated fire, so we can just use VATS and just let concentrated fire do its work, but obviously that's never going to work. I think somewhere out there we've got a mantis or something. Yeah, we're getting good damage now, but unfortunately, as a submachine gun with no scope, we're gonna have to go in a little bit closer fairly soon. We'll see if we can pick off a couple, even though at this range... Okay. Someone said lock and load, so I thought they immediately found me, but they didn't. And we're gonna have to burst this thing to keep this thing on track, because I'm gonna just take some time off shooting these gunners. Maybe I'll just full auto it and see what kind of damage I can do. So the recoil is going to bounce the weapon down a little bit, of course. That's fine. But I've noticed just from shooting the wall and looking at the sparks and the impacts of the bullets, there's a little bit of spread going on here. It's almost like it's the same spread when I aim down sights as the spread is when I actual hip fire. So the laser sight is doing pretty well here. In fact, the damage is sort of flattering this weapon at the moment because I still yet have not been detected. So we'll run in and we'll just start shooting them proper like. Yeah, like I said, we're being very flattered with these sneak criticals that we're getting. But we'll try to keep this at a nice close range because of the aforementioned spread factor. Wouldn't say it's a problem. It's a submachine gun. You want to use these things at close range anyway. So the innate inaccuracy of it is not going to be as punishing at this sort of distance. But I'm going to try to keep this reticle centered as best I can. And through a mag dump, we hit like possibly 5 or 6 times. It's not all that much. Especially at a range like that where you kind of want it to be good. Also, I got 1,000 XP from that somehow. And a cheeky little level up there will reset my health for the time being. That gonna... I think I just witnessed a couple of bloody mess kills in a row there, because getting 1,000 XP means I've killed more than one target, I think. There's another one. Wow, okay. That's probably the highest concentration of bloody mess kills I have seen in probably the entire time that I've played this game. But anyways, as we're getting through the initial wave of these gunners, and this guy will probably be the last one, we'll switch over to our loud and proud one. Good lousy Chinese damage. Alright, we'll find a wall here. Nice flat wall, probably in the shadows. We've got the gunner head right there. Look at that. Spready, spread, spread, spread. So, probably going to have to tap fire this thing to make it work really well at ranges, which is going to hurt our DPS a little bit. But even at a range like this, there's a chance that I just might miss the shots. Not to mention the fairly unpredictable horizontal recoil they've got going on here. Vertical is easy. Just hold the mouse button down, but you can't really compensate for side to side as much, especially when your targets are moving laterally in front of you. Quit dancing, will ya? But all things considered, we're doing pretty well. That initial burst at the start, they were able to kill like 15 to 20 of them just with sneak criticals alone was really good. So I think this weapon's main strength is going to be its hipfire accuracy, and we could go ahead and just try to hit this guy in VATS a little bit. Maybe add some criticals into the mix. Why not? We've got an extra one of them now. We used all of our criticals and got the job done. Maybe a closer range situation might favor this weapon a little bit better. 95s across the board tells me we're in good range. There we go, much better. So the damage of this is actually a little bit over what you'd get out of your standard vanilla guns anyway. The only difference here is I believe this thing's going to have a lot less in the range department in comparison, which will cause issues over range. But again, it's an SMG, so its role is meant to be a close quarters blaster, if you will. Just something you can get in close quarters, you take it out, and you deal a whole lot of bullets, or you throw a whole lot of bullets down range at close range, and that'll be what it does. Small bullets for a compact weapon, as we get a cheap little sneak crit on that dude. Anyways, looks like we've got the door breach to go, and luckily we got a couple of idiot savant procs early because we were never really under any health pressure there. But despite this thing having a little bit more spread and its sneakiness sort of helped it, I do believe that it's a good weapon. I don't mind it. Not a lot of mod authors will go ahead and give their guns a whole lot of spread, whether that's intentional, you can't tell sometimes, but it does solidify its role that, hey, you gotta use this thing close, otherwise you will miss if you mag dump, and that'll cost you your DPS, and the range stat isn't as high, so I feel like it's carved out a pretty good, decent role for itself, which, whether that's the intention of the model, I'm gonna give it the benefit of the doubt and say that it is. They've actually done a pretty good job at making a proper SMG role here, so that's great. Also, it works with classic holstered weapons again, very nice. Gotta say the texture on the pistol grip doesn't look that good, but not a problem because your hand's already covering that most of the time anyway. Alrighty, a big target like Swan should be an easy task, right? Even if we do miss, we could probably hit. Or rather, what I should have said is, even if we are off target slightly, we should be able to guarantee those hits. Anyways, that's all of my crits gone in one burst there for not much in the way of reward, but we'll keep going. Lost a little bit of health there, not too bad. But I think the main issue here is just to get away from his incessant rock tossing. And we might be able to just wedge in between these train carriages to do the job and just wear him down that way. Perhaps if we activate Nerd Rage, which I don't think we've been down in that threshold, we can get Destroyer Vacator active, and that'll allow us to just get that little bit of extra good damage on it. And you know what, whilst we've got a decent shot here, that's actually starting off at 64. Bit of a roughie. Missed that first one, but Concentrated Fire will pick up the slack quite quickly there. He's mutated now. He's thrown that rock directly into the train carriage, so we should be pretty good to hold him here and finish the fight. That was a nicer throw there. Working on his craft, as it were. I want to get to a spot where I can shoot him in the head fairly accurately. This might be a little bit too much. There we go. 202 damage is pretty good. We'll throw some criticals in the mix. 374. That's good. Unfortunately, poorly timed with those crits because I got absolutely donked after I threw that. But he's a little bit off with his rock throwing. Actually jumped right over that one. So we just keep chipping away at his health like this. We should win the day fairly handily. I think one more I'll go into Nerd Rage. Yep. Screens are blurred. We'll activate it manually because Fallout games are like that sometimes. And with a little bit of hip fire, maybe switch over to this loud one to finish it off. There we go. And before that ghoul can get the claw on us, we'll go ahead and shoot him like that. Alrighty, so it's done pretty well there. I want to test this more in a sort of low light situation. So we'll wait until it's night, do that kind of easily with console commands, and then we'll shoot a monster that'll be susceptible to the stealthiness. We'll find something. Righto, this is L77 going dark, and we've got a few big monsters to kill. That one notwithstanding. In fact, I don't know what exactly his problem was. There was a little baby monster, as it were. Couple of cheap little staggers to start off. Not too bad to see. We've got a 50-50 sort of roughie on that. There's also a dude behind him, I think. And we'll make sure we take him out, but before we try to do anything, we'll just get as many sneak criticals as possible. We have to sort of keep him at arm's length here. Possibly just a little bit too far out of range for this thing, but he seemed to be holding position as I take that sound wave to the face. And it looks like he's incapable of getting over that particular little section there, so sucked in. Still getting sneak criticals? No, kinda, yes. Well, should be, but not quite. I'm gonna climb this particular tree here, get a little aerial sort of shot, and if he shoots them at me accurately, I can just jump straight down and dodge it, but it doesn't look like that'll be the case. Running around now, so he's finally taken the time to put the effort in, run the distance, and now is a chance of actually spotting me. Torso, please. Thank you. We'll add some criticals into the mix. A couple of cheap little staggers there will win the day for me. Almost not detected. There we go. And then he falls through the earth, and his corpse is forever consumed by the Todd Howard that lives below. Wonder if they'll actually show up, because sometimes if the player falls through the earth, they just get teleported back up. But nope, that corpse is lost forever, and whatever it was holding in its legendary slot, we will never know. Until now, let's see what he had. Just in case you're wondering, he had a rapid sniper rifle. What sniper rifle? Ooh, it's a Fallout 3 New Vegas sniper rifle. That's cool. Alright. So I think I'm going to leave things there for the CS LS7. It's a pretty solid SMG. It's unfortunate that the only way you can get this is through console commands, because that means no console ports for this one. But of course, if you're interested to see a weapon that's like this and isn't Chinese, there's always the UMP45 and /9. You can turn it into a UMP9 as well. Funnily enough, you get the same damage for the 9mm bullets and the 45 calibers, so take that for what you will. But yeah, same sort of gun. This one obviously a little bit different, but it is nice to revisit a pretty high quality weapon mod, so would recommend this thing if you're interested. Other than that, just check out the UMP45. I think that's just a better package overall. It's got a quest, it's got level disintegration if you want, so yeah, we recommend it. If you like the LS7 as well, go for it as well. It's not a one-on-one deal, it's not exclusive, you can get both, so check them out if you want. Thank you very much for watching, guys.